was 11 years old, my father invited him for a car ride. "Where are we going?" my brother asked. "Nowhere," my father said. "We're just going to drive around." By the way, my brother's daughter is here, so I should. Corey, where are you? So this is dedicated to Corey. "Nowhere," my father said. "We're just going to drive around." "I want to go," I wailed, 10 years old and desperate for my father's attention. "Boys only," my father said. My brother flashed me a triumphant grin, and the two of them marched out of the house and into my dad's Rambler station wagon. About an hour later, they returned. I was waiting on the front steps, imagining what wonderful adventures they were having without me. They got out of the car and walked up the path. My brother avoided me. He had a smug, secretive look on his face, and I was ready to kill him for it. They strode right past me and into the house. I might have used torture. It wasn't beneath me. Somehow in the next few days, I twisted an arm and extracted this information. They did really just drive around. But during that time, my father told my brother that he was going to tell him the facts of life. "What's that?" I asked. "I don't know," my brother said. "Dad told me I could tell him all the dirty words I knew, and he would tell me what they meant." "Did you?" "Yep." "And he told you?" I asked. "Yep." And my brother sauntered away. This is my revenge. Instead of a car ride with Dad, swapping curse words for stories, I got a lousy pamphlet, "Your Changing Body." No spicy language there, no fuck, no blowjob, no slut. Who cares about fallopian tubes? Give me an orgy of dirty words. So this is my orgy of dirty words. And what happened was about a year ago, this is sort of the fastest project in publishing history, I think. I came up with the idea of putting together this collection of short essays. All of the pieces are between 250 and 1,000 words, a page to 4 pages, about sex. What I had really come to, the last project that I worked on was, I edited a collection called Bad Girls, 26 Writers Misbehave, and you can see there's kind of a theme going on here. Where do I go from here? But in Bad Girls, what I first expected were lots and lots of essays about sex or sexual escapades. What I had asked my contributors to do was to write essays about times in their lives that they had acted out, when they had rebelled, when they had sort of brushed up against the rules of society for women. And to my surprise, they did not all write about sexual escapades. There was, and to my delight, a real range of ways in which they rebelled. But the ones who did write about sexual experiences, I noticed that some of those were the very best essays that I read. And the reason why I thought, and I feel even more sure of that now, is that we literary writers, and this book is, I really reached out to the best literary writers out there writing today, don't often get a chance to write directly about sex. Sure, sex appears in lots, except for Stephen Elliott. He'll counter that one. But sex appears in our novels and it appears in our memoirs, but it isn't necessarily kind of up front and center. It isn't really what the book is about. And I wanted to see what happened when I gave writers permission to do that, to pick a word or a term that they wanted to write about. And it seemed to me that what I got was something brand new. I mean, that when these writers went after this subject, since it hasn't been done in exactly this way before, they were breaking the rules, they were inventing the form for themselves, taking risks, and writing some of the best writing I've ever seen. The second real surprise that came out of it when I asked everyone to do this was that in writing about sex, I found that everyone ended up writing much more intimately and deeply about human relationships, about who we are and how we feel and what we lust for and what our desires are. So the stories and essays run very deep and are very revealing about ourselves and our society, I think, in the end. So I was thrilled. I mean, this was just a complete kick to do. I started out with the writers I knew from Bad Girls and writer friends and said, are you interested in contributing to this? And everyone said yes. And then I asked, can you pass this on? I knew I wanted to include men in this collection, so I said, can you pass this on to male writers and other friends? And every morning I would come downstairs and check my computer, and there'd be tons of emails saying, I've heard about this collection and I want in. So it was very easy to find this group of very talented writers. And then I gave them a choice, pick your word, any word. I made up a list, but then I was pleased to find out that there were lots of words that I didn't know about. The terminology, the phrases, the words that go along with sex change through generations. And some of them come back again, some of them change meaning in different ways. So it was really fascinating to see how that started to develop. So in the end, what I got was even better than what I had imagined. And you'll see. I mean, you'll take a look later, but you'll get a great taste of it tonight. 4 contributors are here, and they will each read either their entire essay. I've told them they can, though some might choose to read part of their essay. We're going to start with Meredith Marin, a wonderful writer and a good friend of mine. Meredith is the best-selling author of several nonfiction books and an award-winning journalist who writes for magazines and newspapers, including Salon. She has an essay in today's Salon.com. More, Health, Vibe, Family Circle, Parenting, Mother Jones, and the San Francisco Chronicle. In keeping with her